Eli the Halo guy.
Eli the Halo guy.
Tips, tricks, tips, tricks, tips, tricks. Eli the Halo guy.
Opponent has now respawned. He's gonna spawn his teammates there. Probably elbow here in a sec. Bottom
But
tower
it's
spawn.
spawn,
I stuck one. Oh my god.
Eli the Halo guy.
Under
RPCs.
the
Eli the Halo guy.
Tips, tricks, tips, tricks, tips, tricks. Eli the Halo guy.
What's up, guys? This is Eli the Ninja back again with another YouTube video for you guys. Today we're actually gonna just do a little bit of spy work. We're watching a scrim right now between two of my front runners to win worlds, which is Quadrant and SSG. All I did was pull it up from their profile to see how these games are going. I think that this is some of the highest level Halo that we're going to see anywhere. And ahead of Worlds, I'd like to do a little bit of investigating, see how these teams are doing online. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. We're going to hop on board with Legend. It's one of my favorite players to watch right now. We'll see the opening strat from Quadrant here. So looks like they send one C stairs, one is jumping trip stacks, and then we got two players fighting for tower. Looks like they wait for the nades. Both teams kind of playing a little bit cautious. I noticed this between top teams. They don't full commit to anything. They like to bait the items a little bit, because they know that if they just full send towards an item, they're very likely to just die for it. So, all right, so it looks like it was SSG that got the first camo, but Legend with a huge double kill there. So important to shut down the camo player so he has no effect on the rest of the play. Let's see, Stellar was the one that grabbed the shock, so let's go back a little bit here. So he jumps here before he even picks up the gun. He tries to lay down a lot of damage. Okay. This is not the guy that you want to see with the shock rifle. Oh my god. This guy is so insane with any sniper rifle. His aim is basically perfect. Look at this guy, man. Stellar making Quadrant's life very difficult. So this is what I like to see from Quadrant, though. So we all know that Stellar can hit insane snipes all the time. But what impresses me is when Quadrant is in this situation, I feel like they're better than just about any other team about how they get out of disadvantage. So obviously they've been getting sniped repeatedly. Now they're spawning on arguably the worst part of the map in this moment, which is long haul. Intentional, by the way, from SSG to spawn them here. But how are they going to get out? You see how Legend immediately takes an angle to see Bat Ledge, because he's going to expect one of them to push there. He leaves the spot after recognizing nobody's there. SLG takes this position glass right away. And Chick is just watching needles. So you see how they immediately take space so fast. Like they literally just came off spawn and they're already spreading out and trying to get information about where SSG is. But wow, Bound with the crazy play. See, Bound is known for these plays. Just soars out with the needler. It's going to make it difficult, but I think Legend is actually ultimately able to get through tower in this moment. You see the positioning from SSG. They spread out in a perfect line to force these spawns long haul. Bound knows this player's here, so hits him with the needler. All right, so looks like SLG able to get a trade here before dying, which is massive. Legend was able to make it all the way into A. It's just so fascinating to me how both teams fight for space on opposite sides. They're usually mirroring one another, and only when they meet in the outskirts of the perimeter do they actually fight in a lot of cases. All right, so Chick getting the ball. Sika just causing mayhem over at A, gets a trade. SLG gets another pick. All right, so this is huge. Oh, thanks for the follow, Waterfish. Hope you enjoy the the sub alert of me singing karaoke on my birthday. We're doing a little bit of VOD review here. Quadrant versus SSG. So right here, Chick understood that his teammates got 3 down. I want to pay close attention to this, actually, this moment here. So he gets that player one shot, grabs the ball, trusts Sika to finish the kill. Sika finishes it. Sika gets another kill. Mangler. SLG finishes that last guy. So in this moment, SLG and Chick are the only 2 on the map for their team. SLG knows he's getting shot from long haul. Legend actually spawns white here. In his play, he's trying to help fight Stellar. Kills Stellar, dies. Chick still getting ball time here, even though his whole team's dead. Okay, so they pay close attention to where their teammates spawn. So right here, Sika spawns top gold. They're going to anticipate that SSG is going to push to A here. So that's why he's now rotating it the opposite direction. When SLG spawns at C, that's actually telling Quadrant right now that that's the safe part of the map and that SSG is probably in A already. You see how he immediately throws the ball out towards long haul? They're trying to rotate the ball towards their last spawner. There's so much information that you get from spawns in this game, guys. Where you spawn in relation to your teammates is telling you where the enemies are. Right here, Chick spawns completely opposite the map from his teammates, and it's because SSG is in gold. And they're actually on both sides of his teammates. So the game looks at Chick's teammates and says, hey, can I spawn Chick in this spot near his teammates? And the answer is no, because SLG's here, but he has enemies on both sides of him. So take this as a rule of thumb. If you spawn completely opposite your teammates, it's often the case that it's because there's enemies on both sides of your teammate. So let's see what he does. He recognizes the situation. He's going to try to push very fast. He's going to get an angle on gold as he crosses. Probably listening to callouts here. Knows there's an enemy likely to be one shot. But let's look at it on the other side. SSG also knows the spawns very well here. So they're actually pushing in on both sides here. And they're smart enough to know that they probably split Chick into A here. So look at Bound off of his spawn point. Bound is intentionally going directly after the spawner because he knows how it works. He's so... but all these teams at this level just know the spawn so well that they're paying attention. Okay, we pushed the 2 guys that are still alive, so we know we spawned one of them opposite. And you see Bound is intentionally going straight after this player. At the same time, he gets here fast enough that he's now blocking this spawn as well, so Chick is unlikely to get any help from any teammates. And he just wraps all the way around Chick, knowing that this is the route he had to take off of his spawn point. So what makes SSG so hard to play against is they're constantly just getting behind you because they know whenever they split the spawn. And same for Quadrant. I think these 2 teams are the best at forcing split spawns in the league because they both hold forward, they're both hyper aggressive, and they're both hyper aware in every situation. So right now, both teams recognize the ball's not in a great spot. They're just trying to fight for control of the map. Ball ends up getting reset because it hasn't been touched in so long. So right here, I'm going to imagine that Quadrant is going to try to get control of gold if they can. They recognize the pressure's coming in from white, though. SLG wants to kill the shock rifle player. He does get the kill. And Chick actually grabbing the ball and running it straight to A, so I did not mean to go back that far. So he helps with this play. Look at the efficiency, though. Trusting that SLG will finish that kill. Goes ahead and grabs the ball because if SLG can finish that kill, then we can get ball time. Just going to juggle the ball back into A as fast as possible. He's not going to use the slow walking speed. And now he's getting some extra seconds. Now, it's so important in these moments to be this efficient because some of these games are won by 1 second. Like it's very likely that a lot of these games come down to 1 second because they're so close. So even just the few seconds that he's gathered right now are actually so important. So this is what I talked about before, where they always rotate the ball towards where their teammates are spawning. So Chick waited a moment, saw his teammates are spawning gold, immediately rotates it to gold, understanding that this is the current safest part of the map. Now on the other side, I want to highlight the way that SSG handles this situation. So they like to send 2 and 2 on both sides. So they're sending 2 long haul and the other 2 are going into A. So they just are constantly collapsing on the enemies. Eco goes low while he knows his teammate goes high. That's probably called out here. He says, Penguin go high, I'm going low. They're going to have a perfect collapse here. I don't think Quadrant can do anything in this situation. So Bound dies, Eco sees the death, Stellar sees the death. They're going to try to fill in the gap that Bound left behind here during the push. But Eco understands he doesn't have to do anything. He's just kind of holding the sight line while Penguin has ball. Really good push by SSG here. Alright, so look at the space that SSG is taking around the map while they get ball time here. Looks like Bound spawn long haul. Let's see what Bound does off of his spawn point. They have the ball in the center of their formation. They're separating on both sides. This is a scrim that's going on right now, by the way. I just pulled up their profile. You can do this too. If you ever want to watch pro teams play, just add them to your friends list, click on their profile. Alright, so Bound gets away. I love this positioning right here. This is such a tricky spot that I use pretty often. People expect you to be running around to like the trippy corner, and they don't expect you to be here. Bound jumps right over him. It's lucky that he had a teammate there to help him. Seeking now, trying to get control of A. They're always so spread out because they understand that the more space they hold, the less room that SSG has to spawn on the map. And now they're looking to do a pinch here on SSG, similar to the SSG pinch that we saw just a moment ago. Sika getting good damage and escaping. It's a little denial grenade there. So important to have that in your gameplay to just put a grenade down in the spot that you would expect your enemy to chase you while you're one shot, which just denies their option to chase you essentially. So here, all's in a precarious spot, so both teams are just trying to get kills and picks before they go for it. Looks like SSG sees an opening to actually grab it. Penguin beating the shit out of this wall for some reason. Really not sure why he's doing that, but that's alright. Alright, camo's up. Alright, and that was a clean 3 dead. Quadrant was able to burn the camo, so they at least denied some resource to SSG, but this is going to be a tough spot for Quadrant to play out of. I want to highlight what Eco does here, though. So this is the play where they get forward. Okay, actually, I think Eco spawns in A. So this is a huge part of their gameplay as well. So as soon as Eco spawns up, he says, I spawned to A, they're gonna be gold. I guarantee you that those are the words that came out of his mouth in this moment. He says, I spawned A, they're gonna be gold. So he's already zoomed in on gold as he walks out. He's just holding this angle. There's no reason for him to move. If he leaves this place, then SSG could take this spot for themselves. I actually really like his positioning. This is super sneaky on the outside of this ledge here. Because if a member of Quadrant does push out A, which they're likely to do in situations like this, he's actually in a spot where they won't see him. If they go, like, imagine you're top A, like, you don't look in this spot. Wow, this is actually an insane spot from Eco here. He recognizes that they're not in A, so he can push out a little bit to get a better angle. Really good shots on Legend. Kind of over-challenged that, in my opinion. Let's see if Quadrant gets anything out of this. Chick now with the shock rifle as well. Gets taken down. This player using that same box we talked about a moment ago. Chick saw him on the death screen though, so he knows where he can tell Legend where he is. SLG and Sika pushing in from the other side. Both these teams so good at collapsing and understanding spawns, knowing exactly where to expect enemies And they're both all so good with the sniper rifle. This is going to be one of the most explosive matchups that you'll see in HCS if these guys end up playing against each other in the tournament. I mean, it's going to be a show for sure. So love the positioning here. You see how far they're spread out. They have A control, they have glass, they have C with the ball and tower, which means SSG doesn't have much space to work with. And that's why they're able to kind of just suffocate them in this moment. Sika flying out to get the kill. Gets an insane double kill. Now when he dies, I think SLG is probably going to try to fill the space that he left behind. So he's checking first if he can get an angle on this guy, but because he died on the glass area, he's going to go fill in that space. So important in your setups. If you have an understanding of like, okay, this is our L-shaped setup, but we lost part of the setup, you have to go fill that space, and that's what SLG is doing in this moment. You see this guy doesn't hit the shot. That shot goes on respawn. SLG is still just fighting over here at gold, just being pesky. SSG hates that he's here. They're going to have to deal with him before they can go anywhere else. While they're worried about him, Sika gets a kill on a player that's pushing him. And look at this setup. They're forcing the spawns into A. They could spawn in red pipes here, by the way. It's very possible. Because that, yeah, see, they spawn red pipes in heaven. You can see the outlines there. And they're pushing straight in, so the ball's all the way at C. Yet when Eco and Stellar spawn in heaven and gold pipes, they are immediately pushing out gold because they know they can't cross into tower from A until this player's dead. So right here, they're pushing through. This player is being very sneaky in batteries. Wow. The meta is so advanced in this situation right here. Quadrant knows that this is what SSG wants to do off of their spawn. They know that that's where they spawn because of their positioning. The game will naturally spawn them in a spread between A and gold pipes if they hold this L shape on the other parts of the map. So because they know that that's the intention, SLG immediately walks out to avoid these two players that he knows are pushing in behind him. There was probably a call out as well. One of these players probably pushed, but he is purposefully finding this really sneaky spot in batteries and just being a nuisance. And Sika gets the cross. He's able to jump up and finish this player. Really brilliantly played by Quadrant in this moment. And now they actually opened up the long haul spawns. So SSG is now spawning over here in long. Actually, yeah, Bound just spawned up. And Quadrant's aware of it. I think Chick's getting ready to drop the ball to shoot here. But he recognized he didn't have to quite yet. Looks like a member of SSG did get through, but they only need 8 seconds to close out this round. Yeah, I think that's going to be round for Quadrant. He's going to jump off the map just in case, but wow. Really well played from both teams in that first round. The timeline's kind of a spoiler alert that this is probably going to go to 2 rounds, but let's see how much we can learn from the way these teams are playing this. All right, so this is the opening strat. You notice how these top teams, they don't just rush straight in for the items usually. If you go watch like top 12 teams, top 16 teams, or even like a top team play against a lower seeded team, oftentimes one team or the other is just flying at the camo. Like they just throw 2 or 3 bodies at it, or just 2 bodies and then one person that's overlooking it. But when these two top teams face each other, like top teams, the top 4 or 5 teams, they play a lot slower off the opening. They're just sitting and waiting for the other team to push. Chick sees the opening to hit the slide and grab the camo. He's able to get it here. Now with this camo, looks like Sika had died at the opening break, spawns A, so they know that SSG is probably in gold. They know that they have the sniper. So I guarantee you the plan right here, look at them triangulating the sniper player here. So there's always kind of an order of operations at the beginning of a round or a game on recharge. And that's, okay, we fight for camo and then we fight for shock and then we worry about the oddball or space. So because the camo fight's already over, Chick got it. They know that the next order in the operations is to focus on shock. They're playing against SSG, who fucking love the shock, so they know that they have it already. I mean, every team should love the shock. It's insane. And SLG immediately spotting him on bat ledge. Legend immediately jumping grapple. Chick also moving out here. They just want to make sure he dies because that's one of SSG's win conditions in this moment is getting the shock rifle. So they take him down. They know that the spawners are at C, so you see the way he throws the ball and then he's immediately ready to shoot C. Sees this player, recognize it's important to get damage instead of maintain his camo. Using this pillar to re-proc the camo while he's unseen. Excellent value that he's got out of this camo. So it seems like he's not really using it, but every time he gets shot, he used a battery to hide for long enough for the camo to re-proc. In this moment, waits for this player to be one shot, finishes him off. I think his camo's out now. But excellent use of camo and triangulating the shock rifle player here. Looks like SLG spawned in the middle of the setup. This is really common in this game. The game tries to spawn you in the safest area that's closest to the most teammates. So if your teammates are in two like caddy corner spots, it'll spawn you in the middle like this. You recognize his unique position to take bat ledge. Just gatekeeping Stellar. SSG did a great job to push SLG back there. He's using the audio here to know that this player is pushing him. Good sneaky play there. I noticed that a lot of these teams like are baiting Bound because they know he's so aggressive that he's just going to push in. But Bound is getting better at like not falling into traps, in my opinion. I've recognized the evolution of his playstyle like since last year and even just since the beginning of this year. I think that's a big reason why SSG is doing so well now. But he's still going to be aggressive, so you can still predict him to do things like that on occasion. Wow. Stellar hits a nice shot, ends up getting taken down. It looks like other members of SSG spawning glass. I'm curious to see where the last member of Quadrant spawns. These two spawners of Quadrant, they might spawn like on the Dorito. No, they spawned all the way bottom A. And white. Okay. So this is important. Let's analyze this spawn real quick. I love looking at this because it really teaches you how the spawns work in this game. So there's two members of Quadrant are dead right now. And the two surviving members are in tower and top A. Now the first spawner is Legend. He spawns here in A. And where SSG is, they're in glass. And then it looks like SLG actually just spawns bottom A as well. You see how it's like a mirror image? It's completely opposite of that player. Like every time someone spawns, it's almost like there's an enemy in exactly the opposite part of the map from you. And these teams know that. Okay. Both teams fighting for space. The ball is in such a exposed location on this map that both teams know they have to secure at least a kill or two before they can safely grab it. So you see both teams kind of fighting for space here. Nice. Chick barely outside of the melee lunge range. And they get 3 dead. And they know that based on their spread that the spawners are definitely spawning C here. So I expect them to grab the ball and try to get out of the sight line of C plat as soon as possible. Yep, you see him immediately dodging the sight line, but got a little impatient for his shields there. Legend, though, has the grapple. He's able to grapple it into A. They recognize that they kind of have to contract in this moment because Sika died in gold. But they also recognize that it's very likely they get pushed. So I'm assuming that they are going to be ready for this push before it even comes in. SSG is the type of team that they get 1 or 2 dead, they push immediately. They find SLG bottom mid, take him out, and they're just holding forward. The Quadrant knows they're going to do that, so Shuts him down. Really huge to get a pick in this moment when the other team's pushing you. It'll slow them down. It's really tragic to go 4 dead without getting a single trade along the way. And this is what makes both these teams so hard to play against is you'll break their setup, but there might only be one of you left by the time you break it. Okay. All here in Megler Pit. They finally get a bunch dead, but this player on Quadrant, Chick, spawn C, knows that he can immediately take advantage of his spawn point. Knows that they probably don't expect him to be here. Just pushing so fast off his spawn. They get 2 dead. And even though that looked like it was favorable for SSG, Quadrant's too good off of their spawn that they're not able to get any ball time yet. Both teams keep losing players. They know that it's not safe to grab ball yet. Okay, Chick spawns C. And I'm kind of expecting him to go C plant here, but he might go straight toward ball. Okay. Thought he might opt to take some space on the C side, but he recognizes that the fight's still going on, so he has to get in here. Teammates die. I think if they had more kills in that moment, Chick probably would have gone C plat to long haul just to like take up more space on the map. But because they didn't have any kills yet, he pushes in. Yo, be quicker. Thanks for the follow. All right. So now finally SSG, they've been fighting so hard to get control here. Finally have it. Yeah, the sub alert is me singing karaoke on my birthday. That was it was a fun stream. Okay, so SSG, let's take a look at what Stellar's doing here. Was A, they finally get some dead. Stellar wants to immediately push this player out. And then instead of staying here, he's gonna keep moving forward. They're intentionally forcing the spawns towards glass in this moment because that's the furthest spot from the ball. Eco rotating backwards, knowing that Stellar's positioning is forcing that spawn to glass. After the enemies have actually spawned, Stellar doesn't have to stay there, so he's actually coming back. So they're very in tune with the exact timing of the spawns. Alright, they recognize that Quadrant pushed in through Whirlpool, come back, but man, let's take a look at what Quadrant does here off of this spawn point. I'm gonna go back a little bit here. Okay, so Quadrant does get the glass spawn like Stellar forced. You see Stellar is the outline over there. Chick really making it difficult for this shock rifle player to do anything, and Legend cuts straight through the middle. Knows there's an opportunity. He knows there's a weak player up here with the shock rifle, and if he can take him out, the rest of his team can follow suit. So he takes him out. Sika's following the play immediately. Finish the collapse. Sika is so aware of this player at Mangler Door that he's actually using this pillar to isolate this fight. Guarantees that he gets this kill before he dies. Looks like Chick or SLG throws a good grenade at the Mangler Door to finish the last guy. Such good Halo, man. This is... I just love watching both of these teams play. They're so efficient, so aware. Super coordinated with the timing. Get the most out of just about every situation that they possibly can. Both teams so good at it, so when they play each other, it's like a clash of the titans. There's very tiny margins that they end up beating each other by in most cases. So with the ball in A, but 2 dead on Quadrant, they recognize they just kind of have to hold the space around it and keep SSG from pushing in. They also have 2 dead on SSG. Chick gets in here because he knows the best way for him to work together with Sika is if they're actually close together. This is a good tip for any team. You know, as you lose members of your team, if you play closer together, you'll have a better chance to actually work together into the next play. Right there, they actually work together to get 2 kills. He's going to touch the ball so it doesn't reset. I don't expect him to actually hold the ball yet. He's just touching it so it doesn't reset for the most part. But he's actually going to get some time here. because he recognized that they had 2 dead on the other team. Okay, he had a call out from Glass, but does Chick have the sniper? How'd that player die so fast? Oh, they just deleted him. Maybe SLG has the snipe. Nope. Team shot's just that powerful. Okay, so this is interesting. They know this player's B-box. Ball guy still here. And then his teammates spawned Whirl and Gold. So I expect Sika to actually try to rotate this towards Gold. If another player dies here. Yeah, okay, so he's just going to throw it out, actually. Recognize the situation. Him and Legend would rather just fight together, try to get control back. Okay. So even though they recognize that fight was going to be too hard, that's why they just throw the ball in the middle of the map. It's in a position where SSG is not going to have an easy time just grabbing it. They're going to have to fight for it. So you know what? Let's just throw the ball out and let's just scrap. Okay, sneaky positioning from SLG, close to the ball. Really smart to play it that way. They get 2 dead here. I think that's actually 4 dead. No, 3 dead again. Chick's fighting the first spawner and trades it out. So if they can get this safely into A or tower, should be able to get more time. SSG so fast off their spawn points. The teamwork is absolutely unreal from both these teams, honestly. But so far, Quadrant, the team coming out on top in most of these situations. Okay, SSG finally gets some control. They're going to try to send a player that covers long haul here for Stellar. So you can see the way they're immediately setting up is, okay, Stellar's on the silo. So they want to watch both entrances to this area, which is going to be long haul and tower. Eco throws a grenade long haul. I think Bound is probably calling out that he sees multiples over here through A, so that's why they rotate back. See how Stellar is moving with the ball. He's paying close attention to how his team's doing. Recognizes that this is the weak side of the setup, so he's ready to drop the ball and fight if he needs to. Yeah, so here he's probably already thinking that he's going to play the ball soon because 2 of his teammates died. Bound is fighting another player. If Bound dies, it's definitely a play ball. Yep, immediately plays it as soon as Bound dies. Kind of surprised he didn't try to fight that player, but maybe he expected him, thinks he can get away here. Quadrant, though, not going to let him get away. So this is why the C hold is so powerful, is the other team has to push into C to kill you. And then guess what? Your team's going to spawn next to the new ball. So Penguin and Eco already here. They're going to have to win the fight again, though. And look at the push from Quadrant. We've got Legend and Sika immediately pushing through. I'm going to back this up, actually. Watch the whole play from Quadrant's POV. So Legend playing this fight very well. Gets the help from Chick and SLG. You see the way Chick and SLG work together to finish off Stellar, but Legend is immediately taking A because he doesn't want SSG to spawn here. So he gets here very quickly. You see how it forced the spawn all the way into red pipes here. And he's immediately pushing the spawn. Wins the fight against Eco. But I think Sika is also here. He gets naded, so he has to back out. But that immediate pressure means that they can take gold for themselves, which will increase their odds that they can actually get the oddball again. Not sure if they were fast enough to read the A spawn, though. I think Sika knew that they were likely to be behind him, and he was trying to get into gold, but he just wasn't fast enough. SLG, though, is going to gatekeep that player from getting into pipes comfortably. Legend off of his spawn point, immediately hitting out long haul. Look at this teamwork, man. They currently have the lead and time is winding down, so they might actually just be opting to play time and keep away here. They might grab the ball if they have an opportunity, but they also haven't had an opportunity really to grab the ball. So they're also not really obligated to in this situation when they could just play the next 40 seconds out and win the game. Get the camo. This is one of the tools that SSG could have potentially used to get the ball or win the play. But Quadrant wins that. And I believe, yeah, Legend being an A here, they know that the only place SSG is going to be is at C. This is going to be very easy for them to gatekeep SSG from grabbing the ball. So he can recognize these players are here. Sees his teammate gets a shot. Massive double kill. The other two members of SSG were pushing at the other side at the same time. They know this is an uphill battle, but if they could potentially win this fight. Honestly, great push from SSG. The Quadrant is expecting them every single time. This is just going to be too hard to get control. Wow, what a predictive nade there. Did he pre-nade the bat ledge? Knowing that he was likely to do that? That was insane. It's about 10 seconds from here. We'll see where that nade comes from. I think it's Sika that throws it. Maybe Legend? Who throws that nade? I don't know. Either way, somebody nades the bat ledge. It could have been reading that the player would do that or just nading it because another enemy could show up bat ledge there also. Could be a few different reasons for that nade. Legend sees the nade, backs out. They only got to hold for another 3 seconds. SSG does grab the ball in a desperate attempt, but it's too little too late. That's the round. Wow. Impressive game from both teams here. I gotta be honest, I'm a Quadrant fan. I'm rooting for Quadrant at Worlds. I think that it'd be really cool for this team who has a ton of potential to just show up and show the world what they can do. I think they've already been doing that, but so far at all these tournaments, there's been like one series that they misplayed or somehow lose. Like they lost against Shopify, which was somewhat confusing at the last tournament. If they just beat them, then they could have easily made it to top 3. It's going to be tough no matter what for anybody to win because all the teams at the top are so good. We've got FaZe, SSG, Optic, and now Quadrant, Sentinels. I mean, you could argue like all 5 of these teams have a chance to win. I'd say Sentinels is probably below the other 4 right now, just based on what we've seen so far. But Worlds is going to be super exciting, guys. I cannot wait. I'll be casting for LVT as well, so definitely look out for that and listen to my analysis. I try to do this kind of analysis in real time when I'm on the cast. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.